ho, Merry Fishmas, Merry Spliffmas. How are you doing, people out there who are just watching this back? Yeah, it is live to legalise, people. I just wanted to say, unfortunately, we're not having our guest on today. They're having a mental health day, so they aren't available to come on the show. It was going to be Sassy from Sassy and the Hatters podcast. So you can go check them out. They've got some good stuff available. Still a small channel, so it would be good to help them out with some viewership. Hello, people. Welcome in. So, yeah, so we're not having our guest on today, unfortunately. So I shall go through the news with you all instead of having a guest talk. Welcome to... Sorry about that. Just pressed the wrong button. Yeah, welcome in, welcome in. Welcome to the live. Yo, Enigmatic, long time no speak, it feels. How are you? Yeah, I'm good. Really good, actually. I've had a good day. I watched my premiere for the documentary that came out today. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Let's just get these things checked out for the hearing and seeing quality okay. Let's get some music up in the background. So yeah, it's slightly disorganized beginning because I was expecting someone else to show up, but excellent with the sound. Thank you for that. Yeah, so I had a really good day. I watched the premiere with a few people of my hobo documentary, which if you haven't seen it already, I do advise you to go watch it. It's a good time. You know, I can't believe I actually sat through a whole hour and a bit of myself, watching myself for an hour and a bit. You know, it's long, but it's kind of like satisfying to watch. So, you know, I'm telling little bits of stories about the homelessness and stuff. And yeah, it's a good time. It's a rip-roaring journey all around the homelessness of my local town. Ah, well done. You got the sneak peek. Yeah, thanks for watching, man. Don't want to give away too many details, but it was good fun making it. You know, I got wrecked off energy drinks. You know, I was already sleep deprived. What is going on here with the people? Be careful what you say here. If you're rude or offensive to me or other people, I will block you. So yeah, be kind, be friendly. You can be playful, of course, but no obnoxious comments or whatever, because it's my channel. So, you know, I will be the moderator for that kind of behavior. Right, who wants some news? News. Cannabis news. Ah, Stav, welcome in. Saw the last 20 minutes before, but we'll watch tomorrow. Cool. There was another comment there. There was another comment that was a bit rude that I decided to delete. So let's look for the news. I'm not going to answer that question. I find it to be irrelevant. Bizarre. Make sure you're in the right place, people. We're trying to legalise cannabis in the UK here. That is what this live stream is about. I know it goes out to all sorts of people, so it might be that you're in the wrong place at the wrong time or the right place at the right time. What is that on the pendant? What, this one or this one? This one is a Lord Shiva from the Hindu religion. There you go. You can see his little face there. Lord Shiva with his fork. So that's what that is. Weed news. There's been some news, some negative news, which is a bit unfortunate for the weed circuit with regards to legalization anyway. So there was a big piece done in the Independent about about schizophrenia. No, I don't sell cannabis. No, it's none of that sort of thing here. We're talking about legalizing it. We're not talking about illegal behaviors. Where's the independent? Anyone seen that independent thing? I did do a video on it. It's a nasty video, not a video. It's a nasty article all about cannabis causing schizophrenia. Essentially, is what it sort of seems to be implying. But it does say at one point during the article that this does not imply that cannabis causes schizophrenia specifically. So at least they did that. At least they said that in there. So let's find it. Independent cannabis. Cannabis, the latest news. Yeah, here we go. Potent cannabis linked to surging schizophrenia cases. Who wants to know about this? Yeah. So, potent cannabis linked to surging schizophrenia cases. New schizophrenia cases linked to cannabis use disorder more than doubled in Ontario after legalization of the drug. So, it's talking about a study here. It's quite a confusing article, to actually make sense of what they're trying to say in there. You're interested? Yeah, I mean, it says overuse of high-potency cannabis could be linked to a sharp increase in schizophrenia cases in Canada, according to a new study that calls for a review of the drug's long-term effects. The study, published in the journal JAMA Network Open, found that the number of new schizophrenia cases linked to cannabis use disorder has more than doubled in Ontario, rising from 4% to 10% after the legalization of the drug. So, my first point of contention with this article is how it says at the top, potent cannabis linked to surging schizophrenia cases. Surging. From 4% to 10% doesn't sound like a surge to me. 4%. And it's, as I say, it's hard to make out what they're actually trying to say here. Cases linked to cannabis use disorder has more than doubled in Ontario, rising from 4% to 10% after the legalization of the drug. New schizophrenia cases linked to cannabis use disorder. From 4% to 10% up. So cannabis use disorder as well. So they're only talking about people who have got cannabis use disorder, which is, shall I read that out? What is cannabis use disorder? Does anyone want to vouch for that? Cannabis use disorder. There's some contention around this as well. Some people are saying that cannabis use disorder is a myth. CUD, cannabis use disorder. Cannabis use disorder, also known as cannabis addiction or marijuana addiction, is a psychiatric disorder in the DH, whatever you call it, the DSM. Is it called the DSM? Cannabis use disorder, what is it? It's a complex condition that involves a problematic pattern of cannabis use. It can range from mild to severe addiction. CUD is treatable. It's important to seek help as soon as possible if you think you or your child is developing CUD. So it's a problematic pattern of cannabis or marijuana use that causes distress and or impairs your life. It's a type of substance use disorder. So they're only targeting people with that. So you might think, okay, well, people with cannabis use disorder are smoking a lot of it at once, kind of thing. So it's not talking about the general population here. It's talking about specific people with cannabis use disorder whose schizophrenia rates are going up. Researchers assessed whether the liberalization of medical cannabis in 2015 and the legalization of non-medical cannabis in 2018 influenced the link between cannabis use disorder and new schizophrenia diagnoses. La la la. Like I say, if you're putting weird stuff in the messages there, I'm just going to get rid of you. Schizophrenia is a condition that affects how a person interprets reality, manifesting in patients as a combination of hallucinations, delusions, and disordered thinking. I will go through the chat in a bit. I'll just get through this article and then I'll go through the chat to see what you've all been saying. So, yeah, I will read your names out as well if you want that little moment. Shout outs. Previous studies have suggested cannabis abuse may aggravate already decreasing nerve connectivity in young adults at risk of psychosis, which could then progress to schizophrenia. The new study adds to this finding, establishing another link between cannabis legalization and the rise of schizophrenia cases in Canada. We found that there have been concerning increases over time in the percentage of people with a new schizophrenia diagnosis who had received care for a cannabis use disorder before their diagnosis. So, trying to unpack this document here, we found that there have been concerning increases over time in the percentage of people with a new schizophrenia diagnosis who had received care for a cannabis use disorder before their diagnosis. Is this making any sense to you people? The author of the study said, regular cannabis use is strongly associated with an increased risk of schizophrenia, and one of the main areas of uncertainty surrounding cannabis legalization is whether there would be changes in the number of new cases of schizophrenia. So it seems a bit like a scare piece, you know. I think people are afraid of schizophrenia; they don't want to develop it. So there is more to the study than meets the eye as well. Someone I know has done a little bit of extra research into the study itself, not just this report of the study, because this is a report of the study, right? In a newspaper, The Independent. And there are some limitations with the study in general, which I'll get onto at the end. So the study analysed the health data of all Ontario residents aged 14 to 65 years old, eligible for universal healthcare, over 13.5 million people from 3 policy periods between 2006 and 2022, which is before legalization, after liberalization of medical cannabis, and after legalization of non-medical cannabis. So they tested these people, and it found that at least 120,000 individuals, or about 1% of the population of Ontario, had an emergency department visit or hospitalization for CUD. Sounds like bullshit. Thanks for that. About 10% of individuals with CUD developed schizophrenia during the study period, compares to 0.6% of individuals without CUD. The link between CUD and schizophrenia may be particularly elevated among younger males, in whom about 20% of incident schizophrenia cases were associated with CUD by the end of the study, researchers said. So now I need to unpack that one because that sounds like nonsense. The link between CUD and schizophrenia may be elevated among younger males. So in younger males, 20% of the schizophrenia cases were associated with CUD. So I think the message here is don't get CUD. You know, you got to be like chilled with your weed intake and don't get heavily addicted to it, I suppose. Otherwise, your risk of schizophrenia will increase. So that's what I'm sensing from what the study is trying to say. But realistically, it's putting out a scare piece of propaganda about schizophrenia. Oh, scary. Weed causes schizophrenia. Oh, scary. Don't legalize it. Oh, because it will cause more schizophrenia cases. And that's like the thing to think about here is that's only one aspect of legalization of cannabis. They haven't considered any of the other aspects of legalization of cannabis, like reducing police time, making the money from it, the fact that they can educate people, the fact there's regulations, the fact that safety of the product goes up, the fact that they're not actually arresting people for such an innocent crime kind of thing, you know, on the human rights angle of it. The study does not imply that cannabis use directly causes schizophrenia, but researchers caution that heavy cannabis use can worsen symptoms and the prognosis for those living with the psychiatric condition. Again, it's still confusing. The tripling of schizophrenia cases associated with a cannabis use disorder over the past 17 years and rising cases of psychosis underscores the urgent need for targeted prevention strategies, particularly for younger populations who appear to be at the greatest risk. That's fair enough. They're not saying unlegalize it kind of thing. They're saying targeted prevention strategies for younger populations, which I think is a good idea. You know, you don't want young people to be smoking cannabis, weed, whatever, because, like as it says, you are more vulnerable at that age, and it could lead to these symptoms if you are vulnerable. However, there is another point that I've come across, which is that the schizophrenia link is only for people who have already got that condition latently. It might not have arisen into its full-blown manifestation yet, but if you have the condition of psychosis or schizophrenia kind of in your genetics, you have a genetic predisposition towards it, you have a family history maybe somewhere down the line of someone with this mental health problem in the past, it could, that is like, if you have it genetically speaking, then smoking cannabis could lead to you developing the symptoms. Is that the end of the article? I think I've run out to the end of the article there. So yeah, so they're arguing for targeted prevention strategies for younger populations who appear to be at the greatest risk, which is all right, fair enough. Right, and I'll just have I'll show you a bit of stuff that someone showed me about the study, the limitations of the study. Because it's not all like done and dusted there. There's some, I just came across something I wrote. Is there such a thing as a weed boner for weed porn? So yeah, this was the biggest piece of news I found, and it's not exactly positive. But there are some other good bits of news. Some places in America are considering legalization again, which is good. Come on, man, I need to find this. Right, here we go. Here's the author's own admitted limitations to the study, and they debunk the prohibitionists. CUD may have a relatively small causal effect on the incidence of schizophrenia at the population level, with associations observed in our study possibly being due to confounding environmental and genetic factors. So what they found in the study could be due to environmental and genetic factors, not CUD itself. And we did not have access to several important potential confounders, including individual level income, educational attainment, family history of mental health disorders, and genetics. Consequently, while the magnitude of our something should be interpreted with caution, for example, diagnosed CBD may not be the cause of 10% of cases of schizophrenia. So, yeah. So someone else has gone into the study more deeply and found that, like it says, the associations observed in our study are possibly due to confounding environmental and genetic factors. And they didn't have access to important potential confounders, things that would confound the study, like family history of mental health disorders and genetics. So there you go. Right, that was what I wanted to say about that particular news piece. Seems like a scare piece with a slightly dodgy study that they're trying to pass off as fact. Right, so that was the big negative news, and then there's some positive news from around the world. So I now just go back through the chat and read out your comments and see if I have anything to say about them. So back to the music. I'm glad you're all having a good time in there, chatting away. Of course, I should say hello. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to my live. If you've just got here, I'm Shiva Wilson. No, that's not my real name, but it's the name that you can use for me. Call me Shiva. Has anyone ever read Moby Dick? The first line of Moby Dick, the book, says, "Call me Ishmael," which I think is a wicked opener line for a book.
This is how much mayo chicken you get for $1.39.
So call me Shiva.
This is how much holiday you get for $1.39.
Call me Shiva. Right, let's have a look what you've not been saying. Yeah, so welcome in. And if you want to let everyone know how stoned you are, I'm at 0% stoned out of 100 today. So if you're 100% stoned, that means you're like on the verge of whiting, you're going to pass out soon. You know, you're zinging through the universe at a rate of knots, and possibly even starting to trip balls off the weed. So, my goodness me. Right. When did Norman Reedus start smoking weed? A long time ago. If it is legal or illegal, more and more people smoke weed from 19 Ragnarok. That's true. More and more people are smoking weed these days. You're absolutely right. It's becoming very popular. It already is. It's the most popular illicit substance in the world. 220 million people in the world smoke this weed regularly. I love my Lord Shiva as well. Can you get an 8? Ask your dealer. I was just watching your homeless documentary. It's really good and really funny. I'll finish watching it later. There you go. That's a good positive endorsement there. Check out my homelessness documentary. It's really good and really funny. Good. I'm glad it's funny. I when I watched it back, I did laugh a few times myself. So good. It's funny. It's I find it exciting. I came out of it going like, yeah, what am I going to do now? Oh, I've got nothing to do before the live. So, but I had all this energy from it. I'm interested. Hey Shiva, I wish they would make it legal from Gamer versus Gardening, which is a marvelous name, by the way. I wish they would make it legal. Yes, we may need to use our wishing powers and our manifestation powers and our action powers to actually try and get this to happen. So more on that later, I think. I grow veggies for my family and love growing things that can't be grown normally. Also, serious apologies for the fox with mange comment earlier. No, that was fine. It's all in good fun. I've got a troll video out. If you want to troll me, there's a perfect opportunity. I've done a kind of you may troll me video. So it says, where have all the trolls gone? That's what it's called. So if you want to troll me, you're most welcome to. There's lots of light-hearted troll comments there, people making jabs and jibes and jokes on the troll video. It's actually doing quite well. It's got like 3.5, I think, 3.5k views, which is good for my channel. I'm only a small channel, so 3.5k views is wicked. Where are all the trolls gone? They've gone to that video. I'm out of weed money. Oh, too bad. Sorry to hear that. Smoking weed made me a little racist. I find that one hard to believe. Potentially they're reaching for it as a medicine from gaze at stars for mood stabilization. Yeah, indeed. People, you're talking about the schizophrenia there. People do self-medicate with schizophrenia using weed. I've got to start using a new word. Let's call it loud or fire. Someone send me weed money. Yeah, I'm doubtful that's going to happen, but good try. Gamer of Earth. I was vaping Delta 8 vapes and it gives me heart pain. Ah, damn. Are you sure that is real Delta 8 in there as well? Because it could be spice, and spice has been known to give people heart palpitations and heart attacks. So be careful what you're smoking there or vaping with regard to THC vapes and Delta H vapes, HHC vapes, THCA vapes. It might not be legit real stuff. So 19 Ragnarok takes it against pain and it helps better than chemical pills from the doctor. Indeed. Medicine. Just a quick shout out to anyone who's on medical cannabis. And a quick announcement, medical cannabis is legal in the UK and has been since 2018. If you want more information about what clinics and flowers and oils and products and pharmacies are available, check out medbud.wiki. That's medbud.wiki. Medbud, like medical bud, medbud.wiki. For the website, which has got all sorts of information. It's a massive comprehensive website. It's also got a forum on there for people with medical cannabis who want to talk about their medicines and talk about the clinics and share information, wisdom, community, so it's there for you. Medbud.wiki. USA weed industry is so effed. Well, at least they have a weed industry. Like, we've got a weed black market and that's it. CBD, yeah. We've got a CBD industry. So someone's dabbing hash rosin right now. Systemic noise, good for you. Sounds like a good time is being had there. Hash rosin. What strength is that? Like 80, 90%? I reckon the schizophrenia must have been an underlying issue, as I don't believe that cannabis use causes schizophrenia. Well, good, I'm glad. We need more people like you out there who don't believe that sort of thing. Laughing at all the brokies begging for weed money. Ha 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 ha. Nice. Gamer of Earth. I need to get a medical card and get that good lol. These unregulated vapes are killing me. Unregulated is the good word. They're unregulated, isn't it? That's what we need, is regulations to get these products to be more safe and healthy and also available. My big thing at the moment is I'm going to start pushing this a little bit more. This idea is that alcohol is not for everyone. Oh, it's backwards. Alcohol, it's not for everyone. We want weed. We want weed. Yeah. Alcohol is not for everyone. And also, it's not very good for everyone either, alcohol, compared to cannabis. If we can just get over this schizophrenia hump, the hump in the road of schizophrenia, if we can just get some real solid science of, okay, what does cause schizophrenia then? Okay, maybe psychosis, maybe the loud, the fire, maybe some chronic triggers it in people who've already got that genetic predisposition. But I've read that schizophrenia is a neurodevelopmental issue that starts at birth, or even in the womb. So it's not the cannabis that's causing it. It was caused a long time ago. I'm doing the Donald Trump thing there. He always does this. Donald Trump. And he does this as well. Throwing nuggets of nonsense at people. I'm not really supporting Trump at the moment. I was a little warmed up to him, but I don't know what he's up to. He's gone a bit nuts. He's trying to take over the world. He's trying to take over Canada, Greenland. Canada and Greenland. And somewhere else as well, I think. But yeah, so anyway, let's get back to the topic. Schizophrenia is a neurodevelopmental condition. Thanks for Death Stop. Smoke it for 10 years daily and haven't had any of that crap. 19 Ragnarok. Never had psycho thing. Never saw something which isn't real. Alcohol way more bad. Yep. Like I'm saying at the moment, the alcohol versus weed dilemma is not really a dilemma anymore. Alcohol is definitely worse for you. The schizophrenia, like I said, is a risk. It's a very small risk as well. It's about 1 in 20,000 people who smoke weed will develop schizophrenia. That's like a side effect risk profile, which I think is pretty good odds. And they would have developed it anyway. That's the point that's been made. Like before, it's a neurodevelopmental condition that starts either before birth or at birth, and that can be measured in MRI scans. So cannabis just a trigger for that. So most people don't have to worry about that sort of thing. So it's like, okay, they're putting out all these big articles about schizophrenia linked to cannabis use. Yeah, not in the majority of the users and not in the majority of the population either. So not in the majority of weed smoking population, not in the majority of it. And like that previous article was saying, it's 10% of people with CUD, not 10% of the overall population. So that article is really like, you know, if you're not very intelligent, let's say, and you can't read between the lines, or you don't, or you just take it all in as though, oh yeah, bad, cannabis, schizophrenia, bad. You're going to come out thinking cannabis causes schizophrenia in every single case. So it's not worth going near it, and it definitely shouldn't be legal because it causes schizophrenia in every single case. You know. Anyway, asking for science from Gamer versus Gardening. If the devil's lettuce is a member of the nightshade family, does it favour ericaceous soils? I'm trying to learn about species adaptations between plants such as tomatoes, etc. I've got no idea. Does it favour ericaceous soils? Do you want me to find that out for you? Let's have a look. Oh, I can't do it. I don't have my AI on here. No, we can try a web search for it. Does cannabis favour ericaceous soils? I hope that's a genuine question and not some kind of joke. Ericaceous compost. Here we go. Personally, I wouldn't use it, someone says in THC Talk Forum. Anyone use ericaceous compost? I was looking about in the garden centre and came across it. It says it's for acid-loving plants. Someone says, personally, I wouldn't use it. You can, and the plants will grow, but you are leaving yourself open to deficiencies because cannabis plants in soil like the pH to be between 6.3 and 6.8. There you go, Gamer versus Gardening. You need to find some soil with the pH between 6.3 and 6.8. While this is acidic, it's not what I would call acid-loving. This soil is aimed at plants who like a lower pH than this. It is difficult to tell without knowing the pH of the soil. Dissolve a small bit in some tap water and test the pH. This will give you an idea if it's good or not. So you want 6.3 and 6.8 for the weed plants there. Gamer versus Gardening. So that's your answer there from a forum, THC forums. Right. Venkatesh Naidu. Here in India, whole Himalayan berry marijuana grow like grass, naturally, no one touching. Wow. No one touches it, not even the sadhus. Someone says it sounds like bull. Joe F sounds like bull. The document there, the independent article sounds like bull. Himalaya is such a so beautiful area, pure nature. I've never been there, but it does look. I've seen the pictures of the weed plants growing on the hillsides, on the mountainsides. It does look beautiful, but beautiful in general, yeah. Jacob Hoffman says, yeah, sounds like bullshit. Mark LeBlanc says, BS. Gamer versus Gardening, I believe I've got to that, so please check out my previous 2 comments. I believe I've already done that. Can I do freestyle rap? A bit of air? No. Definitely not. Why none of my friends which smoke over the years, including me, haven't any of these things you read? Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. Scare tactics, like Enigmatic's saying, or said. Here they say also it is a drug for beginner, and a lot of consumers of marijuana will end up with coke and harder stuff. That's also BS. Yep. I never took harder things than weed, and I don't think about it. That's the case for most people. 19 Ragnarok there. Most people who use the weed don't go on to harder stuff. They find weed quite satisfactory, and people are tending to start saying that alcohol is the real gateway drug because it's alcohol first, then weed, or alcohol first, then cocaine, alcohol first, then weed, cocaine, and crack, then alcohol first, then heroin, alcohol first before you get to LSD. So alcohol before you take the mushrooms. Alcohol starts at an early age. You know, I started drinking booze when I was like 13. Used to get wrecked, then go play squash and be absolutely hungover and play a terrible game of squash at age 13, 14. Used to get my mates, female friends, to use their older looking nature. The girls looked older than the boys did. The boys looked like young, scrawny idiots, and the girls looked like they were about 18. So they went off to the shop and bought the booze. I think one of them had a fake ID as well. So yeah, they bought the booze. And then weed started a bit later when I was like 16, 17, 18, 19. Arguably, I started a bit young for that, which one of the reasons why I want it to be legal is for people like me who started a bit too young. To protect their developing minds, we need age verification for over 18s, minimum over 18s, if not over 21s, I think it should be. I would say, right, it should be over 21s for weed legalization age limit, over 21s to keep it safe for the developing minds of young people, developing brains. Sorry, it's not necessarily their mind, it's the brain. So, scientifically, it has been proven that it can shrink or eradicate cancer cells. But with billions in the cancer research industry, why would they risk that? Yes, we're having trouble with lobby groups and interest groups who don't want weed to be legal because it would damage their profits. That's true for alcohol, it's true for tobacco a bit as well, and it's true for the pharmaceutical industry and the cancer research industry as well. Can anyone think of any industries that might not want to have weed legalized because of the benefits that it can provide medically and recreationally? So, of course, because medical is legalized already on this channel here, I will be promoting the legalization of recreational or adult use cannabis. Adult use is a good term because it implies that it's not frivolous necessarily. It's something that adults use to help them in their lives, whether it's just for relaxation or stress relief or spiritual purposes, religious purposes, um, for fun. But calling it adult use, I think, is a better way of referring to it sometimes because the recreational angle just makes it sound like it's um, something for stoners and only for stoners who want to get stoned and high and blasted. And that doesn't paint a necessarily positive image in the non advocates' minds. So I like to say adult use cannabis, which is what they say in America as well, recreational or adult use. I'm currently quitting. I've reduced my intake to next to nothing past few days. It's expensive and really hit and miss in quality. Well, there we go. Hit and miss in quality is another aspect of the legalization argument, which is for people who do use the weed, we're getting bad quality stuff from our black market dealers. Can be laced with things, can be laced with horrible things. It can be badly grown, can be sprayed with pesticides, can have contaminants in it, can have lead in it, poisons, heavy metals, stuff like that. Xylazine was in some THC vapes, so we're getting some bad quality stuff, which is dangerous for the user. And prohibition or the illegal nature of cannabis has not stopped like 2 million plus, more than that probably, more like 7 million people in the United Kingdom from smoking it. Prohibition, the illegal status of cannabis, has not actually prohibited people from taking it. So if you want to reduce the harms, the hospitalizations and even deaths from contaminated products, because we know that weed doesn't actually cause death, it's impossible or virtually impossible to die from weed unless you have like a heart condition, for example, where it might be that an old person with a heart condition who's quite frail or struggling might die from an like extremely powerful edible or bunch of edibles, for example. But it would be the heart condition that was already present that killed them, and the weed just exacerbated that. But most people, in fact, like nearly 100% of people who use weed will not die from it. It's virtually impossible to overdose from weed to the point of death. There's a bit in this book that I read recently, which I'll read out to you because that's important. Is it possible to fatally overdose? No. Cannabis is extremely safe. The amount of cannabis it takes to kill you is over 1,000 times an average dose. 1,000 times. As a comparison, the amount of opiates or alcohol that it takes to kill you is just 2 to 4 times an average dose. So if you get twice as drunk as you normally do, let's say you have 4 beers normally, 4 pints, that's your sort of normal dose of, like, let's say on one night out. If you have 2 times that, that's 8 beers, you could die. If you have 4 times that, if you have 16 beers, you could die. So there are no proven instances of someone dying from a cannabis overdose, although it's possible someone with bad heart disease might have a heart attack due to the increased blood pressure. You could say that for most people, the only way you can die from cannabis is to be crushed by a bale of it. So that makes the alcohol point even more poignant. We've got this completely unsafe substance that is completely legal and completely regulated. So the product itself is as safe as it can be with regard to alcohol, although they could go further and ban alcohol advertising, which would help stop people getting the desire for alcohol would go down if they stopped allowing alcohol advertising, which I think would be a positive step the government could take. If they're going to ban anything, which they love banning things, ban alcohol advertising. That's my view. And legalise cannabis. Just have to say that a few times per video. Legalise cannabis. Because alcohol is a dangerous substance. If you look at the harm graph, the relative harms graph, which I will show you in here as well, there's a relative harms graph that shows you like the harms of drugs to the user and to other people. And it comes out that alcohol is the most harmful drug. Oh, you can't really see it, but it is there. So these things here are how much harm it causes, and this is alcohol, and this at the bottom end is mushrooms. So magic mushrooms are the least harmful as rated by a bunch of scientists who all got together and rated these drugs based on expert opinion and various different criteria that they rated them on. And this is not a gold standard, but a bit of a gold standard, I'd say. So here it says alcohol. Next up is heroin, then crack cocaine, then methamphetamine, then cocaine, then tobacco, then amphetamines, then cannabis. So cannabis is about there, about halfway down the graph. So it's doing well. But alcohol up here, out of a possible 100 points, it gets around 75 points of harm to others and harm to self. So alcohol is not for everyone. It's dangerous, and many people die per year. Hundreds of thousands of people die per year. I could find that out if you want, exactly how many people die per year from alcohol poisoning. So I'll catch up with the chat now. BS, I've been smoking weed. This is Mark LeBlanc. I've been smoking weed for more than 20 years. You won't believe me, but I once smoked 54 grams in one day. That's like 2 ounces, is it? Didn't hear any voices. Where was I during that survey? That's a powerful comment. Thank you. Didn't hear any voices. Didn't have any hallucinations. Well, it is not easy to get depressive nowadays. Poor joke. 19 Ragnarok. Gamer versus gardening. I wish they would legalize the herb. I'm waiting for surgery currently as I may have cancer. Oh dear. I hate the government gatekeeps against the same people of this planet. Yes. Gamer versus gardening. Are you, if you might have cancer, if you can get a diagnosis of that, you might be able to get medical cannabis from a private clinic. Sorry, I'm a bit behind here, guys, but I'm catching up. Enigmatic says, me too, been smoking weed for over 30 years. No sign of any schizophrenia or psychosis. Awesome. I smoked weed once and I felt like vomiting. Oh dear. Let's pray the whole EU will allow it sooner or later. Let's pray the whole UN even will allow it. Right. 30% now, stonedness, enigmatic, a while ago. What percentage of stonedness are you at? I've been at 100% for years. Yo, bro, from Harry. Hello. Hello, Harry. If you're still there. It's like smoking a cigarette at this point. My gosh. There you go. Did you say that you're the one who did 54 grams per day at one point? In one day? Yeah, Marc LeBlanc, 54 grams in one day. That's hectic, man. It's like smoking a cigarette at this point. Well, that's cool. My soul almost left my body. Ooh. But then I felt like puking. Oh. Weed is trash these days. I like smoking cannabis dusted with crack. I have tried that. It is definitely worth it. I did that. Yeah. I created the ideal joint for me at one particular point because I was homeless, and then I've been put up in temporary accommodation, and there was a crack addict in the next room who could supply me with crack occasionally, and she came back with some crack one time, I think, and I literally just decided to crumble some of the crack into the joint, and it was actually pretty good, if I do say so myself. So yeah, but I don't really think I should promote crack because it is a harmful substance compared to weed. But that is just the truth. That is what I have done in the past. This is what an authentic weed smoker looks like. 100%. Say no to spice. Yeah, spice can be dangerous as well. Use weed for toothache. Yeah. Very good. Demnikas, welcome in. Oof, good thing I said your name. Demnikas. Alcohol makes me an a-hole. Where Demnikas, I said your name. Welcome in. That's why I don't consume it anymore. Tried it back when I was 18. What, alcohol? Yeah. Super Bowl predictions. Someone will win. Someone will lose. Smoking weed without tobacco is a lot better. Yes, correct. I think, well, it's a lot better for your health. Yeah. The jury's out, though, on whether it's actually better taste-wise. I think some people will hate me for this, but I do like the taste of tobacco in a joint, I must say. I don't use it anymore, though. It should be pure for health reasons. So I'm just going to have a quick pause here. Knackering doing this. Right. How are you lot doing? We've got 32 people here. This is fantastic. Thanks for showing up, guys. I believe in you. I believe in us. I think we're going to get this done somehow, you know. Here's a question I put to my Discord group, which if you want to come join the Discord, we talk about legalization all the time. We share videos, pictures, conversation, obviously, links and stuff like this to articles and whatnot, all about legalization. So there's a Discord. If you go to my channel page, if you're not subscribed already, I presume there are some people who haven't subscribed to me. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. Go to the channel page, which is like if you click on your subscriptions, you'll see my little icon there. Click on my icon. Go to visit channel. Visit channel. And when you're at my channel, there'll be links. So the first link up the top left is Discord. You can come into the Discord and you'll be very welcomed in. And we'll welcome you to the chat and we'll start chatting with you. So it'll be good to have you there. Prefer with a bit of tobacco. There we go. The Alex, get one of them special vapes you put the weed in. I've got one, but I only use the weed for sleep. And it's the only thing that helps stopping nightmares every night. There you go. Yeah. Sounds like PTSD there possibly going on for nightmares, or just nightmares in general can help nightmares. There we are. Glad it helps you, yeah. Finn, welcome back. Respect peeps to you. Michael Crawford, welcome in. Good evening from the south to you. I'm also in the south. I assure you my Ericaceous question was genuine. chilies, etc., have proven exceptional in my home. You know what it was? I didn't know what ericaceous meant, so I thought, oh, could be trying to trick me there with a long word. Boo! Sassy and Hatter show comes in. Boo to you. Hello. So Sassy and Hatter was going to be my guest today, but unfortunately he's not able to make it for reasons which I won't go into to protect the person's privacy. So I do use it every night, but when I do, I usually do it last thing at night. Only thing that stops the nightmares. Yeah, good idea. It's definitely good for sleep. Better than alcohol for sleep, I've found. So using alcohol, you have to get proper plastered in order to help you sleep. But better than alcohol for sleep, and it is prescribed for insomnia. Medical cannabis, people. Medical cannabis is already legal. Check out medbud.wiki if you didn't know that already. Again, Donald Trump movements. If you didn't know that already, check out medbud.wiki and go to a clinic. There's lots of different clinics there that you can find one. If you want to find one that's near your area or just one that's got the best pricing for you, check it out. And you have to do an eligibility check where they will ask you a bunch of questions, and you must not have had a history of psychosis or schizophrenia in the past. That will disqualify you for it. But if you don't have those diagnoses in the past or even currently, and you have something like anxiety or depression, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, ADHD, I think autism spectrum disorder, ASD, PTSD, cancer-related pain, neuropathic pain, back pain, chronic pain, migraines, all sorts. There's like a list of about 100 conditions that could make you eligible for medical cannabis, which is not free, unfortunately. It does come with a price tag on it. Mr. Sloth has got some news here. I was in New York recently, and although I'm for legalization, it must be regulated. The constant smell of weed at all hours does get a bit noxious after a while. I see. Well, I guess they haven't banned public smoking then. I mean, if they ever did legalize weed, and we're hoping they do, and we're pushing for them to do so in this country, I presume they wouldn't allow it smoked outside. It would probably have to be in private. Just from my feeling, that's what I predict. If they do allow for the legalization of it, it will probably be in personal, private places only. So that's how I feel the government will be like, because if they're going to do it at all, they'll want to, like you said, regulate it extremely strictly, because the British government is a bit like that. I started drinking, stopped that. The thing around with the wrong people, and I had 8+ years class A addiction, which I don't do anymore, but the thoughts and feelings are still there. From the Alex. Right, I don't know how to respond to that, but thank you for your comment. If we're talking about the age we started smoking weed, then I was just 13. So like we're understanding, it's not everyone who smokes young either. So we've got to get these percentages. If we reverse the percentages, so like what they're saying in that study, it's jumped up from 4% to 10%. People with CUD are getting schizophrenia. Okay, so what does that mean? Originally, it was 96% of people with CUD did not have schizophrenia. Now, 90% of people with CUD have got schizophrenia. Now 90% of people who have CUD don't have schizophrenia. So if you reverse the polarities of the percentages there, it makes a good case for saying, 90% of people who use it don't have a trouble with it. So I will be doing more of that reversing of percentages. And look, a brain after 10-year smoke and a 10-year alcoholic's brain looks like a sieve full of small holes. Never saw that about a smoker. Yeah. The medical cannabis industry isn't properly pro-legalization. I found that they are, actually. Some of the people like Medica have occasionally done promotions around the legalization of it as a medical cannabis clinic. I've seen some promotions around recreational cannabis legalization as well. Drugs are for losers. Thanks for that. Drugs. Yeah, what about prescription drugs? I mean, a prescription drug, are they for losers or for people who have got a medical condition, who need help, who are in suffering? So, prescription drug, cannabis is a prescription drug in the United Kingdom. So, drugs are not necessarily for losers. Although losers, if there's anyone who self-identifies as a loser, do you identify as a loser? Does anyone ever self-identify as a loser? I suppose people with low self-esteem might self-identify as a loser, but you don't say, I'm a loser, I'm going to go take drugs now, do you? Loser is something you call other people. It's very rarely that you call yourself a loser, I think. Well, I don't call myself a loser. Have I? I probably have thought of myself as a loser in the past when I was younger and a bit anxious and a bit depressed. I thought, oh, I'm a loser, I'm never going to get a girlfriend. And then a few months later, I had a girlfriend, so I was wrong. Legalization affects big pharma companies who make a ton of mental health patients. Yes. Yeah, you're right there. Mopor, please remember to take a rest and drink some water while streaming, sir. You're absolutely right. I've got some water in this can, believe it or not. It's an energy drink can, but I filled it up with water, and I do need a drink. Thank you. Good advice. I want to throw myself out of a plane and parachute into a field with my friends. Yeah, man. So do I. But I'm a bit scared of that sort of thing. I want to smoke a plant. Now, hang on a minute. I see what you're saying there. Yeah. Dangerousness. You're talking about the danger of things, yeah? Jammy. Yeah, jammy. So Jammy's talking about the dangers of, for example, extreme sports, which are legal, and then smoking a plant, which is illegal. Bad. You know, so there's a relative thing there as to what's more dangerous and how come all these dangerous sports are legal and yet cannabis on the adult use side of things is not legal in this country. And of course, there are other countries that have legalized cannabis so far. Who's this guy? All pharmaceutical companies do not want it legal. Pain relief, gout. Why would they want something legal that you can grow for free? Yeah. Well, Germany is doing well on this front, isn't it? Germany. He sounds smart. Thank you very much. What is going on in here? We are talking about the legalization of cannabis. And there is also a petition. There are 3 petitions up at the moment on the government website. Now, some people might say, oh, petitions are a waste of time because they never go anywhere. But they do generate responses from the government. If you get to 10,000 signatures on a petition, they will respond to the petition in a formal letter kind of way on the website. So you get a response back to see what are the government's arguments here. Obviously, they're not going to legalize it straight out from a petition because they just won't. They never will off the back of a petition. However, they will send you a response which gives you the reasons why they're not legalizing it, which gives you something to be able to say back to them to try and convince them otherwise. So the next petition you put up, for example, could be worded differently and be more persuasive. Also, if we get to 100,000 signatures on a petition, it could, and I would say most likely it will, if you get over 100,000 signatures or even more than that, like let's say 200,000, it will force a debate or produce a debate, or they could make a debate on the subject, which gives the issue more airtime in Parliament, which makes it more relevant to Parliament, and getting the issue into Parliament is the first step, really. So petitions are that way of getting our topic into Parliament for consideration. So they are worth doing, and it only takes about a minute to do anyway. So someone said to me recently, oh, it's just going to waste everyone's time. I was in Drew is Sharing's server recently, and I got basically shot down heavily for suggesting that there were 30,000 people in his server, right? There are 3 cannabis petitions up on the government website. 30,000 people. If 10,000 of those people each signed one of those petitions that would have 3 petitions over the 10,000 line mark. So I just said, there are 30,000 people here. That's 10,000 per cannabis petition. And someone said, no, it's a complete waste of time. Petitions don't do anything. They're never going to legalize it in this country. So what's the fucking point? And I was like, wow. I said, is that the view of everyone in this group? And yeah, it pretty much was the view of everyone in that group, because no one else said anything about it. But I might try again later. So if you're in Drew's Sharing's Discord, if you're brave enough, and if you're allowed to, pop the link up to the petitions to see if anyone wants to sign them, because I'm sure there'll be some people in that 30,000 strong group that will want to sign it because they do believe in the possibility of legalization in this country. So if you go back to my channel page, at the top in the links, you've got the Discord, like I mentioned earlier. You've got my X account, which if you want to follow me on X, that would be great as well. I could do with extra followers on X. And then the third one along is the petition. There's a current petition for the legalization of adult use recreational cannabis in the UK, which I do advise you to go sign that. The 24 people here. It's only just started recently, that petition. So, you know, if I can get my subscribers, all of them, at least 2,500 people to sign that petition, then we'll be on the way to the 10,000 mark. So it is possible to get some change to happen. It's just a bit slow, and we have to do it in steps and stages. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I only smoke the green to keep my demons happy. I don't get stoned like I used to. Oh, sorry to hear that, my friend. Keep the demons happy, yeah. The demons inside want the weed, so you feed them. Feed them the weed. Well, I hope you're joking. If you're not joking, yeah. Oh, well, that sucks. What did I come in on? What's this stream, lol? We're talking about legalization of cannabis. He read a book and watched a YouTube video. Now he's a doctor giving advice. Indeed. Yeah, I'm not a doctor giving advice, but I am saying that medical cannabis is available. And if you want a real doctor to give you actual advice, go to medbud.wiki and check out all the doctors that are available there through the clinics. Really, I'm not a doctor giving advice. I'm just trying to promote the legalization of cannabis. So there already has been the legalization of medical cannabis. I want to promote that to people because a lot of people in this country are still not aware of that. And even the police forces are not aware of that. So there we go. If Willie Nelson hasn't managed to find the point of overdose, nobody will. Indeed. From Jammy, good comment. Fingers crossed for all smokers, they will legal it. You look like you dabble in some drugs. Well, have done in the past, yeah. 100%. What do you think about magic mushrooms? I think they're, honestly, my view of magic mushrooms is absolutely criminal that they're not legal, because I thought they were just like way more safe than alcohol from using it. From using the shrooms, I was like, this is just a really nice feeling that I was getting. I didn't trip balls kind of thing. Probably didn't quite have enough. I had 3.5 grams in a chocolate bar, and I did feel incredibly euphoric in my body. My body turned into this kind of liquid light feeling. I felt like I could fly, so I was like, whoa, really energized. You know, not like I could fly. Well, I felt like if I jumped, I would fly away, but it didn't work. I wasn't to the point of believing I could fly, like I was actually, you know, I didn't go cuckoo in the coconut and actually believe I could fly, but I just felt like I felt so light. You know, I was just really floating around for a while. It was a good experience, but I kind of ruined it with the alcohol that I took, because my friend drinks a lot of alcohol, and I was doing it with a friend. So I drank a bit too much alcohol, which kind of ruined it a bit. Serious question, because alcohol toxin every year a lot of people die. Yeah, someone dies every year about weed. I don't think so. Cancer, I don't believe it's just smoke what makes cancer. Industry as well. Shrooms are not legal yet. Most shrooms are regulated at our class A, yeah. But there is a type of mushroom that is legal as it grows natively and abundantly in the United Kingdom. Is that the Amaria muscaria, whatever it's called? I think there possibly is one legal shroom. Legal psychedelic mushroom UK. Mm, mm, can't find it. Sorry. I had a feeling that there was one legal mushroom, but I had the also feeling that it was kind of a rare one. So I would err on the side of caution with that on the mushroom side if you don't want to get in trouble. Class A mushrooms are Class A, so they carry heavier penalties than Class B drugs, which is what cannabis is scheduled as at the moment. Classified. Scheduling and classification are a different thing. Scheduling is like for drugs on the medical scale. It's now a Schedule 2, I think, which means it's allowed to be used for medical prescriptions. Why is cannabis illegal but opioids are prescribed? They say weed is illegal because it's harmful, yet they give us opioids. Wow. There we go. That's another good argument. Larry John, thank you very much for that. It's another good argument about opioids, which you can overdose on those and you can get addicted to those. They're addictive. Fly gravity bong on the way. Whoop whoop. Whoop to you. Yeah. Good luck. Good faring. Hope you fare well on that. It's fly agaric that is legal. Right, that's the one, yeah. Okay. Yeah, do your research first before you eat any mushrooms as well, because you need to be extremely careful with mushrooms that you've not picked the wrong ones and you're not going to die from them, because some of these mushrooms are fatal. Not the psychedelic ones, but just dodgy mushrooms you find in the woods or on the grass could be actually lethal. So you really need to know your stuff. And if you're going to go picking, I suggest you go with someone who already knows their stuff with regard to mushroom picking. So that's my legal advice there. Be very, very careful with mushrooms. Codeine has destroyed my body. Great vibe. You should do a vibrator. Oops. I've accidentally pressed the button there. 54 grams a day, really? Yeah. 50% weedoed. Right, I'm going to quickly skip down to the bottom to see what's going on in here. Oh, man. Okay. So we're still all on topic. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So, like I say, why am I giving advice? Shouldn't be giving any advice, really. La la la. Oh my gosh, there's so much chat here today, people. Let me go check the news. There were some other bits of news I wanted to share with you. We're going for 2 hours today, by the way, so let me get some news articles up. There's more news from America that is worth talking about. So let's go to the bookmarks. Sorry, I've lost the music there. I was quite enjoying that music in the background, you know. Quite soothing. Right, so medical marijuana is more effective than prescription medications for treating chronic pain, a study finds. Chronic pain, anyone? Minnesota to open adult use marijuana licensing this month. 70% of Texas residents support decriminalizing personal possession of marijuana, and 79% supported legalizing the sale of marijuana for medical purposes. Apparently, William Shatner is high on life at the moment due to cannabis products. They beam him right up. The 93-year-old William Shatner relies on the cannabis products to help soothe his joints. Joints. But he's feeling so many other benefits. William Shatner's high on weed. at the moment. So Captain James T. Kirk is getting stoned. They've put Florida back on the ballot for legalization. In 2026, they're going to have another go at voting for legalization in Florida. So it's already on the ballot there. And then we've got Hawaii. We're doing so well recently. They're going to delay the consideration of marijuana legalization until next year now. To have it cut short so early in the process is disheartening, one lawmaker said. So they were on course to possibly legalize marijuana in Hawaii, which would make it the 25th state, I think, to do so. But they said no, they're going to delay it until next year, which is a shame. In other news, France's medical cannabis experiment ends, leaving hundreds of patients in limbo. As a 3-year experiment with medical marijuana comes to an end, instead of generalizing its use as intended, authorization has been stalled. So France were doing a kind of medical cannabis experiment that has now finished, and they were going to roll that out across the board for people, but no, it's been pushed back or not done. So we've got one from New Mexico now. New Mexico bill would legalize psilocybin therapy in supervised medical settings. So that's really exciting that some places in the world are actually legalizing psilocybin as well, the mushrooms like we were just talking about. So I think it's totally criminal that mushrooms is illegal. That's a crime in itself. Whoever makes those laws says should go down for some time. And we're not exactly given reasons why these things are illegal, are we? Oh, drugs are bad. Yeah, that's the war on drugs rhetoric speaking to you, not the truth of the facts. If drugs are bad, alcohol's a drug. Alcohol should be illegal by your framework, so obviously something's gone awry there. So where did I get to? Oh man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with all this chat. It's been really good in there. Vibrator. Can it help with arthritis? I am told it can help with arthritis, yeah, but look up the medical stuff online. Medbud.wiki to find your clinic. Bongs and pipes for the win. Michael Crawford. I'm sitting at about 50% now. How stoned are you, people? Anyone smoking weed? Put a 1 in the chat if you're literally smoking weed now. I'll count the ones in a bit. Ones in the chat if you're smoking weed right now. You don't have to do that, obviously, if you don't want to, if you don't want to share with the group. Cough, cough, cough. Sadly, cannabis is a gateway drug. Anyone want to talk about that? Ooh, fly agaric is poisonous if not treated properly. Well, there you go, like I was saying. In fact, it's best to stay away from wild mushrooms in general, yeah. Cough, 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 splutter, splutter, cough, cough. Wow, someone's having a good time in there, enigmatic. Enig, yeah. Shorten his name to Enig, that's what we do. And weed is not addictive. As someone who has smoked for over 20 years, I can go without with no issues. I've been finding that recently. I've been abstaining from it for a while. And yeah, it's doable. It's doable. I don't think I'm addicted. I just like it. What's the difference between being addicted and just liking something? I use it for spiritual purposes. I connect, I meditate, connect with the deities, listen to their advice. I mean, they don't actually talk. I don't hallucinate or anything. I just imagine what the deities would say to me, like the Buddha, the Shiva, the Green Taras, the Christ. So yeah, I try to connect with God if possible. So I use it for spiritual purposes, but I just use it for relaxation purposes as well. if I'm feeling stressed after a long day of video making or whatever I'm doing, I feel that stress feeling, you know, that really, really too sober feeling. Yeah, I'm just too sober. I'm feeling like stressed. So I use it for relaxation purposes, stress relief. Cannabis can cause pseudo addiction. Yeah. So what's the difference between addiction and I just like it? Pipe tobacco mix is good. The trials on shrooms and their effect on treating conditions like depression and anxiety is pretty wild. Yo, Discord is loads of fun and we are like a proper wee family. Aye, we are. Quaver. Sorry about whatever you're saying there. Obviously, don't know what you're up to. Probably because they are prescription, but it does raise the question of why cannabis cannot be prescribed for more than a very select few conditions. I'm getting the feeling like you people might want to sign the petition. You know, you're very much on the legalized side of things, so that's good. Like I said, you can leave the chat if you want. Go find my channel page, subscribe if you're not already. Visit channel, click on my icon, visit channel, find the links, petition, sign, email. It will email you a confirmation thing, so put in your correct email and sign away. Sign away. Shrooms are also being used to treat people with dementia and Alzheimer's, as they help repair dead brain cells and the memory recollection parts of the brain. Wow. Well, I could do with that because my mum's got dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's unfortunate it's coming a bit late for her. She's already developed it, and she's starting to deteriorate a little bit per year kind of thing. So it just goes down and down and down. Her memory just gets worse and worse, and then it starts to affect her daily living a bit. Like I keep finding things in the microwave that she's put in there to heat up, and then it's just cold. So she's either put it in there, forgot to turn it on, put it in there, turned it on, forgot to take it out of there, but it's just sitting there in the microwave, cold as a nut, cold as a fish, cold as a frozen belly. Pork belly. I found a steak in there the other day. So yeah, that's good news for the psilocybin treatments coming along. Sarah, hello. I am British indeed. Mr. O, long time no see. Hey up, Shiva. I love England as well. Well, do I though? England and the UK is getting a bit hairy out there at the moment with regards to like what the government is up to. It really is. This is why I only do natural drugs, weed and shrooms. Michael Crawford. Yo, Mr. O and sorry, yes, Shiva is British. Do you like One Direction? Interesting question. Do I like One Direction? Should we put some One Direction? Can't put One Direction music on because I'll get copyright infringement. Fuck's sake. Damn. I don't think there is anything wrong. What do you think is wrong with smoking weed? What do you mean wrong with it? Wayne, what do you think is wrong with smoking weed? Morally, do you mean? Do you mean like if you talk about a moral issue, then morality tends to be about how you're harming or not harming other people. So if you're smoking away from other people in your private space, I don't think that directly you're doing any harm to anyone, unless you want to say, oh, well, smoking weed does have some carcinogens in it, but it is a lot safer than tobacco, by the way. It has a lot less carcinogens in it than tobacco. So it's way safer than tobacco for smoking. It's not 100% safe, of course. There are risks with taking drugs and burning plants and inhaling the plant, burning plant vape, plant smoke. So wrong with it. I don't think there's anything morally wrong with smoking weed unless you're going about blowing it in people's faces, for example. That could be morally wrong. But otherwise, you're only harming yourself if you're harming anyone at all. You know, if you're going to get cancer from like lung cancer from smoking it, you could say there's a risk there. So you could say what is wrong with it? Morally, nothing, but health-wise, there could be risks. So Jamie says it's not a moral issue, as they once pretended it was. Now they try to claim it is wrong on medical grounds, which is silly since they themselves have already admitted it has medical benefits. Indeed. Right. Luckily, I'm not going to sing today because my voice is a bit fucked up. Just a bit of a break to stop me from talking for a bit. Whew. How are you lot doing? Still with me? I'm not from London, but I'm from near London. Queen of the losers. Give a stoner a bag of weed and nothing to use to smoke it with, and watch them become engineers to smoke it. Indeed. The government often responds to petitions by giving reasons they won't respond to it, so a non-response response. Indeed. Music come back on in the background. To quote Tom Waits, I think the people who don't take drugs are afraid of reality. Tell you what, I had a weird is it an insight or a thought? It's definitely a thought. I had a weird thought come to me while I was stoned the other day. I was like, whoa, man, the sober state, it just doesn't get you in touch with these kinds of vibrations. I can't feel these extra vibrations in my body, because obviously when you smoke weed or use weed or ingest weed or consume it, whatever, cannabis, it affects your endocannabinoid system. So it's almost like, for me, I feel like my body lights up with energy because my endocannabinoid system's been stimulated, right? So it's all throughout my body. Part of the nervous system is involved because it goes right to your brain, and it just makes me feel a lot more in touch with my body, and like get this vibing energy feeling, like nyam 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 in my body. And something in my brain sort of I thought to myself, this is this is reality. Like, this is the real feeling of life, being alive like this right now, feeling the energies. This is the truth of life. This is what we're not able to see while sober, but these energies are already there, in your body. For example, the vibrations of your inner workings. You can feel your legs really clearly. They're zinging with energy. They're vibrating, kind of thing. I'm trying to think of a better word, but it's the feeling of being stoned. You're really happy in your body. You're happy, and clap your hands. Yeah. So I was like, this is part of reality that usually we're not able to experience unless we use some kind of entheogen, some kind of altered state of consciousness tool to get there. And I was like, this is the real truth of the matter. This is what's really there underneath all the sober, like, kind of flatness or dullness of being sober. So if you could find a way to actually experience that kind of level of intensity of living without using a drug, that would be really good. If you could actually meditate, like just meditate your way to that frequency or that vibration or that feeling, that would be good. But it doesn't seem to work. I have tried meditating for a long time, and using a substance is often what people need to get their mind to expand to a new place that is satisfying. It's a form of release, a form of relief. I'm talking about the adult use here. I'm not talking about the medical side of things. Obviously, for the medical side of things, it's a great medicine for people to use for all different sorts of conditions. But on the level of adult use, recreational use, it beats alcohol out of the park for the type of high you get from the drug, and it's so much safer. You don't get violent on weed. As someone who used to grow and smoke, you would be shocked at the amount of government workers smoke weed. I know lots of council workers smoke. I used to deal with them before I was arrested. Oh, right. Drew pushes everyone to go medical, yeah. Legalization means quality control, fair pricing, and safe access, all the things the black market hates. They profit from prohibition while patients and consumers suffer. Time to put health over profits. There we go. Sounds like an AI response, but if that's you, that's brilliant. Liar. It will legalize when Prince William grows hair. Okay. Not a believer then. Big Pharma doesn't want cannabis legal because it's a natural, effective alternative to many of their overpriced meds. They can't patent the plant, so they lobby to keep it restricted. Yeah. Truth. I feel like that's been generated by AI because you can't spell that well, Sassy. I know you can't spell that well. What drug is he talking about? Cannabis, marijuana, the green, the herb, the plant. Research shows can help rewire the brain, making them a powerful tool for treating PTSD. Big Pharma fears what they can't control. Natural medicine works. Stop glorifying drug use, you peasant. Again, if you want to have a go at me for drug use, it's a prescribed medication for many people in this country. 50,000 patients at the moment. Heading off, brother. Please take care. Look forward to the next stream. Thanks for coming, Gamer versus Gardening. Sorry it was a bit late to say goodbye, but yeah. Oh, man. So much chat still to get through. I'm miles behind people. Miles and miles behind. Oh, my gosh. Right, I'm just gonna. I've scrolled down to the bottom now, so I'm caught up. So if you want to talk to me directly, now's your chance. No messages coming through. But literally, I can't do it. There's too much chat been going on there. Hello, Corey. Favorite strain? Good question. My favorite strain is old school hash. Yo, Discord. I'm talking to you directly. Thanks. I've discovered the hidden beauty in and around my town. Old school nameless hash, Tom, if you're asking me. Yeah, old school hash that has no name, but is strong. Which I haven't had in like ages. Cheese. You know what? On the bud side of things, I haven't had it for ages either, but Stardog. I used to like my Stardog. I know it's like everywhere and people are sick of it these days, but I used to get all sorts of creativity come out of Stardog when I used Stardog. It was sort of like the name was about right because it would take me to that head high kind of thing. And I pull down ideas from the stars and then I go and draw stuff and write stuff. And I was like, drawing. Moroccan hash, yeah, that'll do. Nameless hash. See, I haven't really been that. I'm not that experienced, you know, with regards to strains. I'm not like Drew. Drew's a connoisseur of that. You know, he knows how things work for him and the taste and the smell, and he can tell things like what it is just from the look of it or the smell of it. I could never do that kind of thing. To me, it all looks the same. I'm not a connoisseur at all. I just think it looks like weed to me. Or it doesn't look exactly the same. Sometimes it's got orange hairs on it. We have the person is available. Our guest is available, which saves me some chatting. So, guys and girls, people in general, I'm going to have to off the live for a bit and come back on. So, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I'll be back on.